Hi, welcome back to Nana's Cookery. Gloria Donahue again, your hostess. And I've been out of commission for a while because I just had my second knee replaced. So now I'm back upright. I've got a grandson who's, well, he's pushy. He's very pushy. He's my producer and my videographer, and we're ready to do some things. I decided to do some Christmas cookies for you to show you. The first recipe I'm a little nervous about. I'm going to tell you about the recipe. I'm going to make it. I don't know if you'll ever do it. And this is why. It's a funny cookie. It's called a Swedish dream cookie. It's from an old made-to-heater cookbook, which I now understand is reissued. So you know you're old when you have the original of a reissued cookbook. And it calls for something called ammonium carbonate. And it fascinated me when I read the cookbook years ago. It intrigued me. It's an unusual leavening, usually in Scandinavian cookies, and it's got ammonium in it. You cannot eat the cookie dough. It smells when it bakes, and it makes a wonderful cookie. And it happens to be my husband's favorite cookie, so I make it every year. The ammonium carbonate used to be available through a local pharmacy, and it's not anymore. But I looked it up. You can get it through Amazon or King Arthur. It's $11. You'll only use a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon a year. But you'll put it in the freezer. Mine's probably 5, 6 years old, and you'll bring it out. And then you'll make the cookie, if, like me, it intrigues you enough to try it. So we're going to do it. We're going to take 4 cups. Original recipe again 2, but I'm going to use 4 because I'm doubling up. As you can see, I sort of spoon up my flour. 1. I just don't use a flour sifter at all anymore. Found it to be a big nuisance. I just use one of these big strainers, depending on the size of the bowl that you're putting it into. You know, you have to have something because it's going to be a little on the outside. So I'm going to do it half at a time because I know it can get kind of messy. So I need a 1 teaspoon of my ammonium carbonate. I want my videographer to smell this. Can't you tell? Smell it. It smells like ammonia. It does. It's the funniest thing. So I'm going to, this is how I do, sort of put my finger in there. It's just a good way to sift everything. Everything goes through. You don't need a flour sifter. Now I've got all my dry ingredients there. Now I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to cream a whole pound of unsalted butter. I never tasted unsalted butter till I was about 20 years old. My husband's boss and his wife, who were both Jewish, we went to their house for dinner. I don't think I'd never had unsalted butter before, and there were a couple of other things they had that were so new to me, things that are so typical today that everybody knows about. But when I was a kid, long ago, unsalted butter was not a common thing in our area. Most of the recipes now, I would say for cookies and things, do call for unsalted. And in some cases, you can then add a little salt to it if you like. But it has a very special taste, the unsalted butter, which I like. This is an interesting little tool that I bought about a year or so ago. I think KitchenAid now sells one, but I don't think it was actually sold by KitchenAid when I bought it. It's a regular beater that fits any KitchenAid, may fit other stand mixers too, and it's got like the rubber along the edge, and what it does is as you beat, it now cleans the sides, and you'll find that you have to scrape much less often than you do with the regular beater. So I do find it is a new tool that actually did what it said it would do. Now I've had this butter out for quite a while. Time will tell whether it's been enough. Very powerful mixer, wonderful to have a mixer like this, does such a great job. So I'm creaming the butter, then it's telling me to add the vanilla, and I've heard this before, that it's good to add vanilla directly into the fat. It seems to have a more prominent flavor. Again, I'm doubling up, so I'm putting in a whole teaspoon. I need. I'm lucky. I have plenty of room in my counter space for my sugar and my flour, my processor, my mixer. I do find that the handier things are, the more likely you are to use them, because it's just not a problem. So this, now I'm going to add the sugar, and again, just regular sugar. Now it's nice and creamy. The vanilla is in there. I'm going to, let's see. Okay, I'm going to slowly add the sugar. I've got a few stories about things spurting up from beaters. I'll tell you a funny one time when I make it. There's a chocolate cake with a ganache, and there's a story behind the ganache. I'll tell you another time. We're going to beat that sugar into the flour. You can beat a lot when you're making cookies or cake or whatever, when you're just doing the flour, when you're just doing the butter and the sugar, maybe even after you add the eggs, you can do it a lot. But once you start adding dry ingredients, you don't do a whole lot to it. Okay, it says beat for a moment or two, and that's what we're doing. Now I'm going to turn it off. Now I don't know whether they say it's okay for you to do this in your mixer or not. But since I've done it for 35 years and it never harmed anything, I'm going to continue to do it. And that is when I add dry things, and I hope I haven't overextended here by doubling my recipe. We'll see. I do on and off, on and off. There's less spatter. I don't use any kind of a shield or anything. You know, the shield that can go around it, I find is a huge nuisance. I never use it. But I find you can't do it all at once because the flour will just, you know, come up. But the on and off keeps it where it's supposed to be. And so I'm just going to gradually put it in. This particular mixer that I got a year or so ago has a slightly larger bowl. I think it's 5 quarts with the handle. My other one was 4.5. I actually tried the other mixer, the one where you raise it. KitchenAid has an even larger one. I actually bought one and brought it home. I thought, well, that would be great for bread. Well, it might be great for bread, but it's not great for most other things because the diameter of the bottom is not small enough. You can't whip 1 cup of whipped cream in it. You can't do, and so I took it back. I thought, no, that's not for me. In theory, it looks good, but I think this is the more practical machine. And in the end, when you're cooking, you have to figure out what's best for you, what works best for you and your family and your needs and your storage abilities and all the other things. So again, just, I've never heard them say you can go on and off, but I do it all the time. And I said, I think it really works. Let me get a spatula here and just scrape down a little bit. It's a very simple dough, doesn't have a lot in it. Now I'm going to let it go at a little, because I want to incorporate it. And now we have to take it all off, and we have to wrap it and put it in the refrigerator for just a while. We don't want it to be so hard you can't work it, but you can see right now it's a little sticky. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it off. Kills me not to be able to eat this dough. I'm a great cookie dough eater. I sometimes like the dough more than the cookie, but trust me, you do not want to eat this dough. It will taste like ammonia. When it bakes, you will smell ammonia, and when it's all done, you'll have a lovely cookie, trust me. I'm just going to mix this by hand just to make sure that the consistency is all the same. And then I'm just going to wrap it for a bit and put it in the refrigerator. So when it's ready to go in the refrigerator, this is what you'll have, a mass. a mass, but a little too soft and sticky to work. So you're just going to put it in the refrigerator for it. Stinks. Hi, we're going to go on with our Swedish butter cookies. The dough has been in the refrigerator for a while. You do not want to let it stay in there long enough so that it gets hard and you can't shape it, but you don't want it to be really sticky. So if you find you've let it in the refrigerator too long, then just bring it out in the air for a while. It's not a big problem. You're going to take it into about a tablespoon, and you're going to roll it. So I'll show you. I already started with some of them, and I'm going to take about a tablespoon, and I'm just going to roll it into a ball. And I'm going to put the ball down, and then I'm going to take a whole blanched almond, and we're going to put a whole blanched almond in each one, and as we do, we're going to press down the cookie. Now we're going to take one egg white, and again I separated it into a little thing so I knew, and I have this tiny little whisk, and I'm going to whisk that up. And I have this tiny new silicone brush, so we'll see how this works. And we're going to brush each one with beaten egg white. Now I'll just do a few so you can see what you do. You don't have to go crazy with it, but you definitely want to do each one. First of all, that gives the sugar something to hold on to. So then I'm going to take they just called this particular one decorating sugar. You can buy it Pearl sugar. As I said, you can get it white, you can get it clear, colored. This happens to be clear, and you just want to take a nice big pinch, because the cookies themselves are not all that sweet, so this is adding a little extra sweetness, and it certainly adds crunch. Well, I'm going to go and finish the tray, and when I do, I'm going to put it in the oven. I'm going to cook it at 350, and it's going to be approximately 20 to 23 minutes. And it says reverse the cookie sheet, and I do that. Even in the convection oven when I'm baking cookies, I reverse my sheets. I find that you need that to balance out the heat. So I'll see you when they're done. Hi, here's our Swedish butter cookies out of the oven. You can see them, and we're just going to slide the whole parchment paper to a cooling rack and be able to enjoy them very shortly. If you're as intrigued as I am about this recipe, again, you can get the ammonium carbonate mail order, and you'll have it for years if you keep it in the freezer. You might be able to find some other recipes for it too. So thanks again for watching. I've enjoyed you coming to my kitchen. Don't forget to be a subscriber and watch for me on Facebook and Twitter. I'll tell you all about my grandchildren. One of them's filming right now, and he just finished another term of school. Bye-bye.